Lol.
I'm assuming that you know the start process.
I'll watch the video.
Right, I'm coming through the middle, guys.
That's what she said.
Hey!
And there goes the family-friendly concert out of the window.
Flying K-Fran first, please. Colonel McCoy 2. Andrex 3. Zapata 4. Thompson 5. Brzezinski 6. Alcon 7. All other LMPs. GTEs, Rigor 1.
Zapata, what's the
Groby 2. Zapata is 4th.
Alright.
Nigmido 3. Morvik 4. Dangerous Janetta 5. David Siska 6. And all other GTEs. LMPs at the end of the first sector. I'm just going to slow it down to let the GTEs catch up. There's a big gap in the GTE field. GTE, LMPs is spreading out a bit.
GTE is quite spread out.
Yeah, and that's why I'm.
Catching up now.
Good luck, guys. Yeah, good luck. Yeah, good luck, guys.
Okay, this moment that in the evens on the right hand side. But be aware that King will disappear, so you can actually change.
LMPs, you're arriving at the formation point. Okay, Fran, the pace is now yours. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, mothers, fathers, daughters, sons, brothers and sisters, welcome to round 4 of the AOR Season 2 Endurance League. My name is King-Kodiak and I will be your commentator throughout this evening's race. If I can get the correct camera and the correct car. Let's go. Flying K-Fran has got the LMP field away. Colonel McCoy 2, Andrex 3. And Zapata is already side by side with Thompson taking that 4th position. Brzezinski is side by side with Fighting Somali. A new name to the league, so welcome to you. And there's Rigor who leads the GT3 field. There's Mr. Alcon losing a position there. Oh, no, gaining a position, I beg your pardon. As that is Somali currently at the back of the LMP field. Rigor leads the GT3s. I should say GTEs, I beg your pardon. Nigmido is into 2nd, Groby 3rd. DG in 4th with Morvik 5, Fastdraw in 6th, and Hetharian at the back of the field. Only 15 races with us, unfortunately, this evening. That, I'm afraid, is the nature of the beast. Let us get back up with our LMP fields as K-Fran has got himself already. He's over a second ahead of Colonel McCoy. Jump on board. It's the time of the Nissans at the front of the field. The leading Marek is Andrex in 3rd position. I believe is not feeling too well. So great effort to be continuing. There's already a gap forming between 4th place Thompson and 5th place Zapata. And Alcon in 6th has displaced Brzancic for 7, and Tamale is he's hanging on to the back of the LMP field at the moment. Rigor has himself, as you can see there, a bit of breathing space over fellow Corvettes Nigmido, with Groby, Morvik, DG, Fast Draw in fairly short succession. Hitharian. I wonder whether that whether the Jeanetta's going to struggle here at Dubai, but we will see as the evening goes on then. So 68 racing laps. Whoa, and that is DG going very wide in the Mercedes, but that just could just be the fact that he is defending. Oh, we've had a lead change. There we go. It's Colonel McCoy on K-Fran. And K-Fran has made a mistake somewhere because Andrex is right on his case as well. He's lost third. He's lost second. Oh dear, flying K-Fran must have badly overshot the first corner because he had nearly a couple of seconds to himself at one stage, and now he's in third. So new leader of Colonel McCoy. But the head of the LMP field still pretty bunched up, as you would imagine, so early on in this round. And tripping over my words already. It's going to be a long night. Thompson, Zapata, Alcon, Brzancic, Tamale. Rigor still is the GGEs. Nick Minder beginning to just break away a little bit from Groby. But Groby has got a lot of pressure from Morvik. Then this is the view from Morvik's Aston as Groby's gone quite wide of the Mercedes. But again, he could be doing that on purpose to get a better exit from that turn 9, that banked left-hander of turn 9. And you can see actually the difference that the line seems to make for the Mercedes along that straight. DG in 13th. Fast Draw and Hitharian. Hitharian's not losing a lot of time, to be fair. So despite my early prediction that he may struggle in that little Jeanetta, it doesn't seem to be the case at the moment. Oh, Brzancic is very close to fighting Tamale. There it is from... oh no, beg your pardon. It's Brzancic close to Mr. Alcon. Misreading my overlay there. Unfortunately, Tamale is beginning to lose the back of the LMP fit a little bit, but it is his first race with us, I believe. So welcome to you. From the United States. So in America or Canada, I do beg your pardon. I'm afraid I'm terrible at turning an American Canadian accent apart. But he's from across the pond, so fair play for getting on board and joining us. He's in the Orica Nissan, or Nissan as he will pronounce it. There are quite a few close battles, and K-Fran is right on the back of Andrex, and Colonel McCoy has nearly 3 seconds down the road. There, you just saw the gap for yourself. This shot makes the top 3 look fairly equidistant, but as K-Fran nearly takes a braking ball with him. Now again, there you see a different line already being used at that tight turn 10. Andrex choosing a much tighter line, whereas a much smoother line, whereas K-Fran went for the apex much earlier. And both in different cars, as Andrex is in the Marek, as K-Fran is in the Orica. So it could be a characteristic of the car. I mean, they do behave quite differently. Their setups are going to be different, although generally speaking, I understand it is a low downforce setup that they will generally use here. Again, there's another area where different lines are used. Is that turn 14 again? Oh, goodness me! Now, I wasn't sure whether the K-Fran was late on the brakes or Andrex is a little cautious into that final turn 16, but K-Fran really closed him in. But look at Colonel McCoy, he is away. He is gone. The tune of about 4 seconds. There's Colonel McCoy, and there is Andrex and K-Fran. They have broken free of Thompson. You just saw him in the back of the shot there. Might see Thompson, not quite. So if we jump on board with... Oh! Andrex has flown off the road at turn 6. It's an awkward set of a double right, then a left, and then another double right. 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7, and if you get it wrong it can cost you all sorts of time. So Andrex making a mistake there and paying the price for it. So Andrex then down to third as the camera is slightly lost. There's Thompson. As a parcel that we ended up pointing at slightly. Now then. Three-way battle here. Mr. Archon 6, Brzezinski 7, and Fighting Tamale in 8th. So Tamale finding a bit of rhythm. Let's have a look at the lap times at this stage. Fastest lap is Colonel McCoy with that 1:45.1. Nice series of sixes there for Andrex. So looking at the laps last time around, Fighting Tamale right with the three Nissans ahead of him, two Nissans ahead of him rather, of Brzezinski and Mr. Archon. So he's matching their pace. Fair play for your first time out. Unfortunately, if he has raced in other series in AOR, I'm afraid I'm not aware of it. If you can hear the fans buzzing in the background, I apologise. I have actually got two of them pointing at me and buzzing away. It's that damn hot in here. I can't open the windows because the Enigmas get a little bit grumpy. Rigor really has broken away from the GT field as the camera gets stuck there. But a great three-way battle here. This is 10, 11, 12. Nick Mido, Groby and Morvik. Corvette, Mercedes and Aston in that order. And not too far behind is the Mercedes of Dangerous Nessa. Itharian's actually overtaken Fastraw, unbeknownst to me. So there's Itharian, and Fastraw has he's really fallen away from the back of the field somewhat. So I think Fastraw must have made a mistake somewhere, and Itharian has punished him for it. We jump up to this three-way battle then. On board with the Aston. A great ringside seat for this particular battle. They come to the end of lap 6. End of lap 5, but beg your pardon, to start lap 6. And I have a feeling that we could be seeing this kind of battle for quite a long time. Of course, Vorvik. Mix up VBR and Morvik there. Oh, and that's an attempt from Groby on the inside of Nick Mido, but didn't quite have the pace to do it. To get that move done into turn 1. Great effort though. So nearly a change of position there. And Fighting Tamale is right with Brzezinski. That's allowing Mr. Alcon just to stretch away from them slightly. But Tamale is right with them. He's actually set the fastest lap of that block of 3. To be fair, best lap still sits with Colonel McCoy. Has got quite a turn of pace. New personal best then from Flying K-Fram last time around. So Flying K-Fram has retaken second position as we saw Andrex flying off the road. Tamale is not making this easy on Brzezinski. Or indeed, by proxy, Mr. Alcon. Mr. Alcon can't relax entirely either. Laps last time around. 149.6, 149.7, 149.3. So again, he's keeping pace with those just ahead of him. So Brzezinski doesn't necessarily have to defend too hard at this stage, but he is well aware that Tamale is there. So he will have to bear that in mind. Let's jump back to the battle. Oh, goodness me, that's Morvik going wide. That's a bit too wide coming into turn 14. So Morvik's lost the back slightly of Groby, who has closed in a bit on Nick Mido. So battle for second in class continues between the Mercedes and the Corvettes. The gap, second to third, 9.2 seconds as they cross the line. So Rigel really is stretching away into the distance. But anything can happen. So long to go in this race. So many laps to go. We will see how it stacks up. Around that long double apex 3 and 4 through 5 and 6. That's 6 they're coming through now. Such an awkward breakings over 7 because you're already going through, well, you've just come out of 6, but you're still turning into 7 as this duo becomes a trio again, as Morvik has closed back in. And again, Dangerous Janetta is not far off of this particular pack, so that trio due to become a quartet at any time. These two battles is the ones I'm focusing on at this point in time. There is Tamale, who's staying close to Brzezinski, who has caught back up with Mr. Alcon. Lap times again. 49.2, 49.0, 49.4. So yeah, Mr. Alcon probably made a mistake last time around allowed Brzancic and Tamale to close in on him. 45.7, so Colonel McCoy consistently in the 145s. There he is then. As he's heading down to that sharp turn 10. In the background there, you'll see Flying K-Fran coming into the same turn, and there is Andrex. Yeah, Marix at the moment struggling to keep the pace of the Oricas. It would seem. We have very many Marix in the field this time. But we only have it's two. Is Andrex and Zapata. The rest of the LMP field are all Oricas. I see. Back to Brzancic, Mr. Alcon, and Fighting Tamale. That's what it is from Tamale's view. Look on the inside at turn 12. I don't think he had quite. Didn't have such a smooth drive out of that turn, so that's lost him some time on the back of Brzancic. As has been proven, he can close that back in. There you go. That is a prime example of how the different lines look from a driver's perspective. You saw Mr. Alcon take the wider entry into that turn 14 for that faster exit, and you saw Brzancic follow the apex much closer to try and get through the corner, or to path of least resistance on that turn. That is the view from Brzancic, trying to close in on Mr. Alcon. The GTE battle. And there it is. Nick Mido, Groby and Morvik. At least said Vorvik again. As Danger Chinetta is still lurking away there. Not too far behind. That's the view from the Aston at the back of the trio. That's the view from GG's Mercedes. To be fair, it's not that far away. So again, look at the lap times of these guys. 57.4, 57.2, 56.8, 57.0. So they're all of a similar pace. Rigor able to get a 55.9 last time around. Morvik had a good run through that turn 15. And closing a little bit on Groby. He's gone very, very deep in the last turn. That is surely going to hand that position to Morvik. They're side by side. The Mercedes was able to get on the power that little bit earlier, and he just manages to fend off the Aston. How long for, though, is the golden question. Morvik having a think about it into turn 1. The pace of the Mercedes just able to fend off the Aston. And that is bringing in Dangerous Ginetta. And that's last time around. You see the mistake that Groby made, 58.1, 57.6, 57.6 for Morvik and DG, and 57.1 for Nick Mido. Oh, side by side! Opportunistic move. Morvik gave a bit of a nudge to Groby, and he has dutifully handed that position back. Very sporting of you, sir. But doing so has allowed DG to close right in on them. Whoa! Saying that, DG's just run slightly wide on the exit of turn 9. He didn't seem to lose any time as a result. There you go. Now you can see how the fighting has affected the makeup of this particular part of the field. You saw slightly ahead. He's gone out of the shot now. He's just come around turn 11. There, you now see how much time Groby has lost to Nick Mido. Aha, and that is race leader Colonel McCoy trying to get through the GTE field as they are side by side. Oh no! Oh, it was lag. It looked like DG was flying off the road, but that was a bit of a lag moment there. That would have been rather scary as someone who was trying to pass DG at that point. As Colonel McCoy then works his way past Groby. And Groby goes very, very wide, probably allowing Colonel McCoy through, but in doing so has allowed Morvik and Dangerous Ginetta to close in on him. Now, as a reminder, the GTEs are not obliged to allow the LMP field through. They're not there to hold them up, of course, but they don't have to jump out of the way. whilst the game will give them blue flags, of course, they are not obliged to obey them. They are obliged to obey blue flags for anyone of their own class. So if they were being lapped by another GTE, or if the LMPs are being lapped by another LMP, then yes, they must obey those blue flags, but not of a different class. Warwick really sizing up Groby now. And there you see second place Flying K-Fran in this mixture as well. On board with Morvik. Can he get a decent drive? Yes, he does! Oh, the Mercedes of Groby very, very slow on the exit of 9, and that's surely his job done. No, it's not! The raw power of that Mercedes just managing to fend off the Aston. And that gave Flying K-Fran an opportunity to go through on the outside. And Morvik having to find his, bide his time again to find another opportunity. He was right with that Mercedes. He is nailed to that rear wing. DG just seemed to not be able to get in a position to be able to attack them, as we've just seen Andrex, their third position, coming up to this particular pack. Why are you saying that? It seems the Mercedes have got the straight line speed over the Astons, but the Astons have the cornering efficiency, but that again could just be Morvik has got a bit more wing on his car. That's why he's slower in the straights and faster in the corners. Dubai's a bit of an interesting one. It's got a mixture of big straights and twisty bits. So it's a difficult balance as to whether you go for the high wings to be efficient in the corners or the low wings to be efficient in the straights. I think the general consensus though has been a lower downforce setup, a bit more on the front than on the back. Ooh dear, and that was DG going a little bit wide at turn 1, as Andrex now is stuck right in the middle of these GTEs. Nope, he's managed to thread his way through them. As we see, oh, Morvik getting very, very close to the back of the Mercedes through that 5-6-7 complex. Now having a look on the inside again, side by side, heading down towards 8. And again, Morvik having to concede. And you see DG taking that very wide line into that turn 9 again. And yet again, carbon copy of exactly what we had last time around. Morvik just not able to power past the Mercedes. Just having to think about it on the inside now. Groby positioning pretty well to defend that inside manoeuvre. And maintains that third in class rather, from Morvik. As we see, that is 4th place Thompson that is closing on this trio. I want to look at others in the field, but this battle is proving pretty tasty at the moment. As they come through again, through that 13, heading into 14, so this will be where the Astons got a bit of an advantage over the Mercedes. That is Thompson that's just got past Dangerous Ginetta. Generally the GTs are told to maintain their racing line, as it makes it easier to predict where they're going to position their car, as I think Morvik was slightly caught out there by Thompson. That's actually lost him time on Groby and put him in the clutches of Dangerous Ginetta, so the battle has shifted slightly as to which Mercedes Morvik has to concentrate on. Has to think about the one behind him as opposed to the one in front of him. Oh, blimey, DG. Will you stop doing that? So DG having a few lag moments there. As we see his car magically reappear in the track from where he skewed off, and that is 5th place as a Zapata. You see coming up to this pack. The second and other Marek. Here again, we're likely to see Morvik get a better drive through that corner, although saying that, Groby had a pretty decent drive out of turn 9 as well, so Morvik not able to mount a challenge at the moment. The other battle we've got that's very close proximity is back to fighting Tamale. There he is. Oh, running slightly wide. He's 8th at the moment, behind Brzancic. Lap times. Fastest lap, of course, still with Colin McCoy, and fastest lap of the GTEs is with Rygor, who we've barely looked at, the class leaders. Consistency, as always, is the name of the game, or has a far bigger importance than raw speed. The one and good being very, very fast, but if you're not able to do it lap on lap on lap on lap on lap, then you will come unstuck in any racing situation, not just in endurance racing. It's of course of greater importance in endurance racing. I wondered if Tamale was going to go a little bit deep into 14 there, but he seemed to hold it okay, and remains stuck behind. You could probably count the number of flies stuck to that car. He's been stuck behind it for so long. Oh, Morvik and DG have swapped. And there we go then, DG doing an outside manoeuvre on the Aston. No, he can't make it stick though. So that battle started in turn 1, so DG had a good run down that start finish straight. I suspect that Morvik probably had a bad turn through the final one, through turn 16, which put Dangerous Janetta in an overtaking position, but could not make it stick, unfortunately. There in the background, you see Mr. Alcon, 6th position, coming up to this particular group as well. Now that could influence that battle 6, 7, 8, Alcon, Brzancic and Tamale. Oh! Is that Morvik with the cut track? It is! Morvik's got himself a cut track penalty that has allowed Dangerous Janetta to fly past him. Oh dear! What a shame, that battle. Not only coming to an end, but being completely shaped by that particular penalty, as we just saw Tamale having a crack at Brzancic into turn 10 there. We saw the back of that shot.
Strong drive with braking markers.
Oops, that's Thompson complaining about the braking markers disappearing. Let's jump back up to that battle actually. There it is. It's Tamale on Brzancic. He's keeping the pressure on, as you see Mr. Alcott getting past Morvik. I don't know how much benefit you get from taking that wider line as you're straight away into another corner. Oh, okay, it's not a particular big braking zone, but if you take that at too much speed, you're having to brake anyway. So, personal preference, setup dictates how the car behaves. I get that. Flash of the lights there from Brzancic and I think also from Tamale. Indeed. Just warning Morvik. We're coming through! Brzancic gave a nudge to Morvik there. He hadn't completed the pass and has just sent Morvik off.
Sorry, DG.
Oh, and DG is... let's find DG. What happened here? That was probably Mr. Alcon getting past him. A similar incident there as DG's gone a little bit wide. Oh no! DG's clunked into Tamale. Excuse me. Oh, and that's one of those soft bollards then ending up in the middle of the track.
That's why I was...
Sorry, DG, for the bump.
Yeah, there we go.
No problem.
So a few bumpings going on. So let's check in with our field then. Colonel McCoy has led from pretty early on. Pretty much the first lap that Colonel McCoy took the lead. Flying K-Fran, our pole sitter, currently sits 12.8 behind as he crosses the line. So it's a decent lead there by Colonel McCoy. Andrex in the lead. Marek is 15.5 down from K-Fran. So he is maintaining his own pace in third position. Thompson is coming around the final turn. And someone asking if someone else's lights are on. He is 18.5 down from Andrex, so in fourth position, pretty much on his own. Zapata and the only other Marek. In fifth then, 10.9 down from Thompson. There is Mr. Alcom in sixth position. He's just coming up to that final turn with Brzancic and Tamale in fairly short succession then. So Mr. Alcon is 21.3 down from Zapata. Brzancic just a couple of seconds down, and Tamale the same again, 6th, 7th and 8th. Rygor is your GTE leader. He has got, that is Zapata coming up behind him as he is coming up to turn 9. He has a lead of about 14.5-ish to fellow Corvette Nick Mido, who has got A good 10 seconds back to third place Groby in the Mercedes. Fourth is next Mercedes of Dangerous Ginetta. That one. And Morvick in the Aston. Sole Aston Martin. Heading through turn 8, heading to the back turn 9. Continues on his way to try and recover the ground from his earlier cut track penalty. Itharian in the Sole Ginetta is unfortunately a way back from Morvick. He's in 14th with Fastraw, having some difficulties early on in 15th position. Unfortunately, oh hello TBW. Hello sir. I am going to have to leave you for a moment, so what I'm going to do is I am going to put you in this battle here, which is Tamali and Brzanczyk, 4th-7th position. I will be back shortly. Right, sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I had a small family matter there to deal with. But I am back, hopefully without further interruption. Okay, so looking at the timings, Brzanczyk has caught back of Mr. Alcon. So, Somali unfortunately is falling off the back of that particular battle. But Brzanczyk then is right with Mr. Alcon. So Mr. Alcon now having to think about defensive manoeuvres, and that is GT Class A Rigel you've just seen going out of the shot. Last time I commentated on a race here at Dubai was the GT3 Season 7 closer, which ended in a mass disconnect, so let's hope we don't have the same thing again. Unfortunately, I missed the endurance round from 2 weeks ago. I was not able to commentate on it. Which was Spa, which was a great shame because I love that circuit, but I think everybody loves that circuit. To be fair, another battle we've got is still in the GT field. That is here, which is GG on the back of Groby, with Morvick in fairly short succession as well. So yeah, the field is relatively spaced out, except for these two packs of three, which is Alcon, Brzancic and Tamale in the LMP field, and Groby, Dangerous Janetta and Morvik in the GTE field. DG again. See, DG went for a tighter line that time, whereas Groby took that wider line that I've seen DG use. Aha! We have a pit stop. Groby is coming in. Coming in on at the end of lap 18. Due to me being AFK for a little bit, I couldn't tell you whether he was the first pit stop or not. So the Mercedes comes in to have his first stop of the day. Conor McCoy continues to lead the way. For those interested in the lap times, there you are. The only one you can't see is fast draws at the bottom. Everyone else is everyone else is displayed, as you can see, with Conor McCoy starting lap 20. 20 of 70, so quite some distance to go. Hope you're well, TPW. Was the Spider-Man movie any good? Does it get the TPW seal of approval? Rygaard still having the GTE fastest lap. GT fields being led by the pair of Corvettes. And the LMP fastest lap of the race, of course, going to this man, Conor McCoy. He really hasn't had a great deal to worry about all race long. His teammate Thompson in 4th position. So the top 5 really, of the LMPs are pretty well spread out, with between 10 and 20 seconds between each one. So no track position battling going on there. There is K-Fran, our pole sitter. He's getting to the back of Dangerous Janetta. And that battle we had in the GT field has been pretty much scuppered now due to people's pit stops happening. Ah, good stuff, TPD. Good stuff. Oh, we're getting the sound glitch already. Joy, joy, joy. Oh. Bit of stuttering there. What was going on there? On it goes. So K-Fran closes in then on the Mercedes pair of Nick Maido and Morvik. Big pardon, it's DG and Morvik. It's not a Mercedes pair at all. It's a Mercedes and Aston. Get that all completely wrong. Ooh, go. K-Fran had to get out of that slightly to avoid slamming into the back of the Aston. Oh, nearly contact there. Very, very close to contact there indeed. But K-Fran manages to work his way past those GTEs. Adrex, 3rd position. Started 4th in class. There's one of only 2 Mareks with us. Continues on his merry way, with no one around him of any description at all. Thompson has got Hitharian in the Janetta ahead of him. Also finds himself free of challenge at the moment. Zapata, the other Marek. Big bit of free air for him. Alcon was under pressure from Brzancic. Has got himself about 2.5 second gap to the aforementioned Orica. You've just seen in the back of the shot there. There he is. There is Brzancic, who has shaken up. Although these three are fairly equidistantly spaced. Somali doing a good job in hanging in there. Though his pace is falling off a little bit now from the 2 ahead of him. Rygaard continues on his lonely way in the Corvette. Nick Maido in the next Chevy, just coming through turn 7. Morvik with DG behind him now, so they've swapped position. from last I looked at them. Well, they're in the same position last I looked at them from when I was looking at the LMP field. We saw them this way around, but when they were battling last, it was Morvik chasing down DG. So, of course, he missed that particular pass as the Mercedes continues on his way with Andrex closing in behind them. Itharian on his own. Groby after his pit stop is 29.6 seconds down from Itharian. We should start seeing other stops coming in. It would seem that Groby has made his stop quite a bit earlier than everyone else, and there's Fastdraw, who has struggled sadly all race long. And it continues on his merry way. Unfortunately, our DG is still fairly close to Morvik. This is the closest position battle we have at the moment, as they just come through that left kink of 13. The cameras don't really do it justice, but you've got to be careful to get your car settled from that fast left-hander of 13 before you slam on the brakes pretty hard for that very tight 14. As I found out when I was just having some practice runs in the safety car, it's very easy to storm into it just a little bit too wide. The car's unsettled, you hit the anchors, and you spin off into the dust. Oops, as DG runs slightly wide there on the exit of 16. Another lap done. 58.4, 59.0, so 6/10 to DG's favour. He's having a look on the outside at turn 1, but Morvik defends that one. That's the view from the Mercedes. I do reckon that Morvik's got higher wings than those around him, as it's definitely in the corners where he's had the advantage, certainly over the Mercs. Oh, he's run a little bit wide, or wider than DG. He's made it stick though. He seems to lose a drastic amount of time as they wind through to that banked 14. Again, DG loves to take that very wide line into the corner to try and get as much speed out, which makes perfect sense because you're on a very long straight. Here we go. Higher top speed of the Mercedes. The Aston jumps to the racing line, which opens up the inside line for Dangerous Ginetta. No defense. Ooh, DG braked very, very early though. Well. I didn't expect that. I thought DG would go for a bit of a later braking than that. But, you know, we're only just over a third of the way through this, so long way to go yet. Ooh, DG had to get out of that though. The Aston slowing down a bit quicker than DG expected. Oops, going a little bit wide on the exit of 12, but a much greater exit speed as a result. And through to 11th then, or third overall. Ooh, it's going to put him very wide onto that turn 14, but Morvik took a similar line as well. So DG then reclaims that third in class from Morvik. Morvik's not really going to have an answer. He takes it slightly wide on the exit of 16. Yeah, but again, you can see the speed difference between the Merc and the Aston. You'll see the Aston reel that Mercedes back in through the twisty bits. That's the difficulty with this particular track, because there's quite a balance between twisty bits and straight bits to try and strike, as far as setups are concerned. Although the thing is, the straights are pretty long and pretty quick, so that's what lends itself to a more lower downforce setup, more like Monza, than a higher downforce setup unlike Monaco. And there goes Thompson. Very nicely done. And there again you see the different lines being put to good use there, and DG getting a bit of slipstream off of Thompson. Why the devil not? Nothing wrong with that, as long as you don't slam into the back of the LMP when you brake, which is possible. The LMPs will slow down that bit quicker than GTEs, which of course doesn't happen this time around. Morvik staying with the Mercedes of Dangerous Ginetta for now. Looking at the timings, doesn't look like anyone else has gone for a pit stop yet. So that was Andrex, I believe. Just giving you a bit of a friendly reminder to someone. again, DG just giving himself that little bit more breathing space over the Aston. And that's K-Fran that's come in. No sooner do I say that no one else is pitted than the second place Orica of Flying K-Fran comes in for his scheduled stop. Thompson doesn't. Does Zapata? No. Zapata continues on his way. K-Fran out yet? No. And that is DG. I think that's just coming. Yes, it is. Dangerous Janetta's coming to the pits as well. It's a big old stop for K-Fran. He's done. Where will he re-emerge? Mr. Alcon, does he pit? Flying K-Fran's going to come out of Mr. Alcon. Come out of Mr. Alcon. That is not the sentence I was aiming for at all. Come out in front of Mr. Alcon. Oh, that sentence had terrible ramifications. And he continues on his merry way. Tamale has gotten ahead of Brzezinski, but I think Brzezinski has either had a massive spin or he's pitted, which has helped for that position change. Tamale doesn't pit at the moment. It's interesting that people's pit stops are so widely spaced apart. So Brzezinski then finds himself behind. That is Nick Mido, who currently leads the GTE field. There we go. And so 8th and 9th are close to each other physically on track, but they are a lap apart. So Corvette of Rigor, having been through the pits then, finds himself third in class behind Morvik. And there we see Morvik! Oh, blimey, getting side by side with... Who's that? That's Zapata. Oh dear. I don't know who got a cut track penalty.
I'm open the window. I'm sweating like the...
Careful. Andrex has chosen to pit at the moment and open his window because it is damn hot here in the UK. So Thompson has also come in. Next Orica in line has parked his car. Interesting, kind of McCoy hasn't. Zapata hasn't either.
The viewers at home there, you have to look in my mouth twice so far.
It has been fairly quiet in the chat, that is absolutely true. K-Fran, he's obviously already had his pit stop and continues in the third position. Andrex coming out in fourth, so he's only lost one track position as a result of his stop. Zapata will, of course, have to pit, as will and race leader Conor McCoy does. And there you see his teammate actually just coming out of the pits, so that's timed quite well. That's Itharian in the Janetta also doing the same from 12th position. Zapata them. And Tamale, I think, has just gained a position. Oh, goodness me. Tamale's just come out right alongside Thompson. Although Tamale does have to pit himself, so I doubt he's going to hold Thompson up. And they're running the same livery, so they are technically teammates. As I say, Tamale is new to the league. Oh, careful with the cuts there, sir. They will be spotted. There is Thompson. Getting his tyres and brakes back up to temperature. Brzezinski. Mido continues to lead the GTE field. He's not coming either. Morvik with Flying K-Fran on his tail. And doesn't hold up the LMP. Very nicely done. Where's Conor McCoy? He came out without losing the lead. Zapata still hasn't pitted.
You've got to be fucking kidding me.
That was Thompson.
They put frickin' rain tyres on!
Oh no! Oh no!
Get hot.
Thompson's pit crew having a bad time.
It's not raining.
No, I know.
That's going to be Thompson back in the pits now.
Why, game? Why?
And in he comes. Oh dear. You could see how he's struggling to maintain the line into the pits.
Now gives me a chance.
Tamale there saying gives him a chance. That's Who did we just see? That's Morvik. Morvik is in the pits. And there he is in the Aston.
Happened to meet Emily as well. Happens to the best people.
It does indeed. Exactly as Andrex says, it happens to any and all.
Maybe the race is going to get more interesting now. I was running in the middle of nowhere.
Groby has, of course,
So annoying.
gone up to third in class then. I think Miley pitted it. Where is he? He's coming down to 13. And heading. TPW from the spectators box says he feels bad for you, Mr. Thompson.
Thank you, TPW.
I detect sarcasm.
No, there was no sarcasm from him. I was just trying to watch something and speak at the same time and failed in both.
Oh well, I was being sarcastic.
He also says the Spider-Man movie is well worth a watch.
Random info? But okay.
Not right now,
I was
obviously.
watching silly movies instead of playing silly games.
There you go, TPW. You have been told.
I could dock him some points for that, I think.
Zapata then in the pits, so Andrex returns to his third position. The top three returned to their previous state. Mr. Alcon will come through to take fourth. There he does. Tamale, where is he? There he is. Through into fifth. I'm not sure if Tamale's pitted yet. I don't think he has. By order of the Andrex, TPW, yes, you do.
Thanks.
So Thompson then, after his second stop, is going to be right with Zapata at this rate. No, maybe not. Zapata still hasn't moved. So Thompson then looking set to take that sixth position from Zapata. God, those pit stops are agonisingly long. And there we go then. That's sixth position to the Orica of Thompson. There's Brzanczyk. There he is. He will take... already has taken the 7th place. Zapata still hasn't moved. Nick Mino still leads the way in the GTEs. It's his pace to move at 58.2 and still does not pit. And that looked like Hitharian coming in again. Has Hitharian been struck with the same problem? Is that Hitharian in again? It is. Hitharian was in not that long ago, so I think he's been struck with the same tyre problem as Thompson was. So yeah, the game is doing really well today. Morvik is surrounded by NMPs. So Tharian coming in again has allowed Fastraw to get off the bottom of the table. DG has got... is that Thompson ahead of him? Yes it is. And there is Colonel McCoy, race leader, coming up behind him.
Thank you.
As Andrex getting past someone. So Marley's fairly close to someone. And there he is. 5th position, 5.5 seconds down from Mr. Alcon. So we may have a battle here forming here for 4th position. On board with Tamale. There, you see 4th position Mr. Alcon is the next set of brake lights. Pace 150.3, 151.6, so yeah, it's certainly doable. Yeah, leaders in the 147s, 146s. But, to be fair, he is Mr. Tamale. That's mixing up Mr. Alcon and fighting Tamale there. Mr. Tamale, or fighting Alcon, whichever way you wish to look at it. They are closing in. Does Mr. Alcon have rain tyres, I wonder? No retirements from this race as yet, as we are into lap 30. 41 remaining, so we are getting towards the halfway stage of this particular race. I am melting in this heat, and the bear, I don't like it hot. I have a lot of fur. Looking at the timings then, in the braking zone, actually Tamale gets to about 2 seconds. Of course that opens up again in the acceleration zone. It'll be interesting to see what the gap is when they next cross the line. Whoops. Who else shall we see? Thompson, due to his second pit stop, is now 40 seconds or thereabouts down from fighting Tamale here. So we'll see how that transpires. We'll see how he's able to make up the gap. That roaring car there is Rigor. And the gap there is 2.8 between Tamale and Alcon. Groby's in. But Zapata is out. He's been there for a whole lap now, so he's got to be out, surely. His pit man's gone. So we have lost our first racer due to a pit bug. Zapata is gone. What a shame. What a great shame. I'm stunned Nick Mido's still going. Unless he's done his pit stop very early and I've completely forgotten or completely missed it. Keeping a very close eye on Tamale. He gained 2 seconds there, or just shy of, on Mr. Alcon. So Frankie Tamale is really in. The Oracle ahead of him. There they go. You just seen them in the same shot there. Zapata, of course, continues to fall through the field. What a great shame for him. 13 races remain. 14 races, rather, remain. These guys have gotten past Rigor. The top of the field spread out by about a minute, there or thereabouts. Oh, and Tamale's given it too many beans on the exit of 14. He held it well, kept it out of the wall, but that has lost him a whole bundle of time on Mr. Alcon, though. Unfortunately, whoops, slightly wide there. On the exit of 16, that's a fairly common place it seems to be happening. Come on, click right. There we go. So 51.0, 52.8 between Alcon and Tamale. 150.3 from Thompson, so assumably then he's got the right tyres on this time. Personal best there from K-Fran last time around, 45.3, just a couple of tenths off of Gunnar McCoy's best. They're still separated by over 30 seconds, so Gunnar McCoy's got nothing to worry about at the moment. As Flying K-Fran comes past Morvik in 12th position, or 5th I think, yeah, 5th in class. Morvik and Dangerous Janetta look like they're beginning to close in on one another again. So they look like they may cross swords again in the very near future. Which we see, yeah, again, Alcon and Tamale. We saw them get close together in the braking zone, of course. There goes Mr. Alcon. Going through turn 12. In the background there you see fighting Tamale. Are they going to try a one stop, I wonder? I obviously think it's possible. The debris on the outside of the track there. Ooh, that was very late, Mr. Alcon, but Mr. Alcon is in. Does Tamale come in? He does. So both of these guys coming in at the same time. And we'll see how their pit crews do. They're pretty sturdy road cones, considering Mr. Alcon smacked into them and they didn't move. So, well, strongest road cones. So they're in their respective pit boxes then. So Mr. Thompson's going to get a 2-for-1 deal here. But of course, him having to do another pit stop lost him a whole bucket load of time anyway. But he'll be back into 4th position, which is where he was pre-pit stop anyway. Pre-first pit stop, I believe. So back into where he was before. And this last lap, 148.4.
I'm going to go all out or run out of fuel.
Tamale looks like he's playing the numbers on the fuel.
Okay, that's weird.
Brzanczyk. Oh!
How am I still in P4 after doing an extra pit stop?
Now Tamale has come out. That's a pretty short stop he's done there.
Me too. Me too.
As he jumps out in front of...
Yes, but I was only like 10 seconds
Groby.
ahead of the car behind me.
Maybe he did the stop as well.
Thompson is wondering how he's regained fourth position, but yeah, as you all saw, he has done it.
Fine. But, again, I am in the middle of nowhere.
Oh, Tamale running a bit wide there through 5 and 6, which is so easy to do as darkness descends.
I clicked change tires and then it didn't change tires. I'm pissed.
Oh no, Tamale's not got fresh tyres on. Oh no, that's second place flying K-Fran coming up behind him.
Blue flag, Tamale.
As K-Fran is reminding Tamale blue flag, you didn't have to slow down quite that much.
I really changed tires or not.
Well, that would explain why his stop was so short. So yes, it looks like
Look
Tamale.
at the green indicators of your tires. You can see it.
Looks like
Still
it.
warm, but I know I clicked change.
It happens, unfortunately. Mr. Alcon is not that far behind either, so his stop was relatively short, just slightly longer than Tamale's was. Oh dear, is Tamale going to come straight in, or is he going to fight with it? Let's see. As he heads down to turn 14. Through 15. He's choosing to go on with it. So we'll see how his race goes then with those very worn tyres. No, Mr. Alcon getting very close to Groby. But gets through without incident. There have been a few contacts between the GTEs and the LMPs, but not too many, thankfully. Nick Mido continues to lead the GTE field with around about 11 seconds between him and Rygo in second. That is fast drop that he is catching up to, and he's got race leader Conor McCoy about 11-12 seconds down the road from him, chasing him down. Will Nick Mido come in? I'm assuming he hasn't done. And he continues. Last lap 1:58.7. Best lap of class is Rygo 1:55.2. Tamale's glitching. He looked okay to me when.
Is he a drift car?
Oh,
Yeah.
he is.
Nice.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, confirmed. Tamale's glitching on stream. That's not drift car. That's looks serious lag to me.
Alien car.
Yeah, he's going everywhere.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
pretty bad. It's been a while since I've seen glitching quite that bad. Well, hopefully it sorts itself out, because that could be quite problematic. He's coming in. Well, that's rather sorts that problem out.
I'm pulling out.
I think Tamale said he's pulling out. That's a shame, because he was having a great run for his main race here, but yeah, glitching like that is very bad. A great shame then.
Maybe this time they'll change the tires.
Oh no, you may be choosing to go again, because he just mentioned about changing tyres. So hopefully we'll see Tamale back in the race. Conor McCoy, where are you? There he is. He has got Fast Draw and Nick Mido either side of him. He leads the field by about 36 seconds rather, from this man flying K-Fran, who is on his way down to turn 10. Third is Andrex. He's been pretty much all race long. Heading down the straight towards 10 himself. Thompson. Coming through that's turn 14 that Thompson finds himself coming through, so he's quite some way off the back of the podium, but of course that is not surprising considering he had to do an extra pit stop for getting rain tyres on his car last time out. 46.2 for Colonel McCoy, 45.9 for K-Fran, 48.2 for Andrex, and 49.2 for Thompson. He finds himself about a minute and a half down from Andrex. There is Brzanczyk just across the line. He is 16.9 seconds down from Thompson. And a 149.6 for him last time around. Mr. Alcott has got third place. Andrex coming up behind him. He is just coming to complete his next lap. And his last lap, 150.6. I think that was Mr. Alcon indicating to Andrex that he has seen him. It's 26.5 seconds between 5th and 6th position. And Tamale is back on track. Yeah, your car looks stable again, Tamale. So whatever glitching problem Tamale was having seems to have sorted itself out, which is good to see. And here's lap time, of course.
This time my pit crew actually changed my tires.
Aha, good stuff. Good. So Tamale is back. Oh, he got himself a cut track penalty there. Which is odd because it didn't look like that major cut. It's ended up nearly 50 seconds down from Mr. Alcon, so he finds himself rather in no man's land at the back of the LMP field, which is a great shame and through no fault of his own because he was having some great battles earlier on. As we have just crossed over the halfway stage in this race, Nick Mido still leads the GTE field, but not by much anymore, and he is finally getting his Corvette into the pits. He's been in the lead, in the class lead for quite a long time, but he is now handing the reins back over to his fellow Corvette. His last minute a lap, a 2-minute lap, so he's had a spin off somewhere. There we go then, the class lead going back to Rigor in that lovely Corvette. Don't have to look nice with the light
Blue
bouncing
flag,
off it.
Brzanczyk.
And Brzanczyk getting a blue flag notice there. Wrong flying K-Fran. There we go. Brzanczyk needs to be obeying that, and he isn't. No, naughty. He is actually holding K-Fran up there. And it's a bit of an awkward place to try and let somebody go, but it is possible to bleed out of the throttle to let the leader through. K-Fran, I'd be flashing away the lights, but he does go wide, I think intentionally, at turn 7 to allow flying K-Fran. Try that again. Flying. I will get this name right. Flying K-Fran through. That's a hell of a sentence. And Nick Mido has completed his. Yeah, it took that long for me to get his flying's name right that Nick Mido has actually finished his stop. So DG then goes up to 10th overall, 3rd in class. In the Mercedes, Morvik takes that 11th spot. Oh, no, he didn't. I beg your pardon, the overlay was lying to me there. So Morvik has just got a couple of seconds gap between himself and the freshly reshod Nick Mido. So we think Nick Mido going for a single stop strategy here. A number of people going for a two-stop strategy. My words are just failing me. My brain is melting in the heat. That's what I'm putting it down to. So darkness has really taken hold now. It's amazing how, I mean, it sounds obvious that you start in twilight and go to darkness, how much of a difference it makes to your view, but it makes a far bigger difference than you might think it does. When I was practicing in the safety car before the race started, and that was in twilight, a little bit there's sunset kind of level of light. Even that I noticed was quite distinctly different to full daylight. So the difference between then and now, yes, these guys have headlights, but they're of course facing forwards, whereas you're looking to the right or the left depending on which apex you're going for. It's surprising how much light doesn't go to the apex. Morvik then getting pressure onto Nick Mido for that 11th spot. 4th in class. One assumes then that Nick Mido's got harder compound tyres on, so they'll probably take a bit longer to warm up, and that is going to make it difficult to keep that Aston behind him, as that is Tamale coming up behind them. Flash the lights. Tamale should have the pace to go through, and they do, as the GTEs respect the fact that there is an LMP going through. Don't jump onto the inside. Oops! A bit of a touch there between the Corvette and the Orica, but nothing that sent either of them off into the dust. And Morvik unfortunately couldn't capitalise on the trip up there. As we know, the Aston has got great cornering efficiency here. Corvette just having the advantage on frontline speed, and there is race leader Colonel McCoy coming up behind these two. You just see Tamale going out of the shot. Ooh, that was close! That's what it looks like from Morvik's perspective. You just see the Corvette creeping ahead. Nick Mido just managing to fend off Morvik for now. Morvik thinking about an inside manoeuvre. That has forced Nick Mido into a very tight line for turn 10. And Morvik trying then to use the greater cornering speed of the Aston. Certainly keeping himself in touch, but as Nick Mido's tyres get up to temperature is when his pit strategy will then come to him. So Morvik's got to do something now to have half a chance of keeping the Corvette behind him. Through 13. Into 14 again. And again, Morvik can do nothing about the Corvette. On board with the Aston. Going down to the last turn. And again, just two different lines that suit the drivers and the cars. And that has allowed the Corvette to stay ahead of the Aston for now. And on another lap they do. Looking through the timings. Doesn't look like anyone else is anywhere near anyone else position-wise. So we'll stick with this battle for now. I think Nick Mido is beginning to get into his rhythm a bit. Let's look at the lap times. 58.4, 58.7, so 0.3 to the Corvette's favour. Oh, that was a very tight line Morvik went for there. But there's no way you can miss those glaring yellow lights in your mirrors in the dark. Andrex thanking someone for letting him through. Letting him through, rather. Well, certainly Aston's able to keep pace this time with the Corvette down that straight, heading to 10. Through 11. To 12. That we can just hear. Dangerous Ginetta actually is about 8 seconds down the road. We did just hear his Mercedes. Can't see it, but we did just hear it. So, what was DG's lap last time around? 56.1, so he was a couple of seconds faster than these two. Obviously, these two fighting are going to slow each other down. Of course, one mistake from DG. And he's actually pretty close to Groby, I've just seen. Groby's just crossed the line. Mercedes along, DG crosses the line with 5.9 between them, 59.0, 58.6 lap time wise, and the Corvette is 11.2 down from DG with a 56.9, so 1.5 seconds, 1.4 seconds to his advantage, and Morvik was only 1/10 off of the Corvette, so Morvik hanging on in there and gaining on DG, who is not that far off of Groby. So once again, I look to our GTE field to give us some action in this race. At this stage of the race, I'm not taking it away from the LMP drivers at all. It's not a slate to them in the slightest. It is just the way that endurance racing goes. It is not 2.5 hours of flat-out wheel-to-wheel racing. I would die commentating on that were it so. So you're always going to have elements of an endurance race where the field is relatively spaced out. No one is particularly close to battling anybody. However, we do have exactly that forming here between Nick Mido and Morvik. And here, there are the two Mercedes of Groby and Dangerous Janetta. Are not too far apart themselves. And there you go, there's the other pair going through that same bit of track that we've just seen. Through 12 then. Through that fast left-hander. It doesn't look like the speed differential is as great between the Aston and the Corvette as it was between the Aston and the Mercedes that we saw earlier in the race between Morvik and Dangerous Janetta. As we saw on the back of the shot, that's Thompson catching up with the back of these two. And towards the final turn again. So again, let's check some lap times. Groby 58.7, DG 56.5, great lap from him. Nick Mido 56.8 and 57.0 for Morvik. So DG extended his lead over Nick Mido back up a tenth. Not yet going to see those two pairs close up, but it is highly likely that we're going to see DG and Groby close up, considering that DG gained 2.2 seconds that last lap around, and there they are, look. This is for second in class between the two Mercs of DG and Groby. Michael's got himself a... Whoa, and that's very wide for DG there. I know he loves that wide line through turn 10, through turn 9 rather. That's a little bit too wide. And yeah, as I say, Rigel's got nearly a minute's lead of the GTE field in 8th position overall. So a stunning effort from him. But it does mean I've barely looked at him all race long. Same really with Colonel McCoy. Well, I am flying co-friend, to be fair. Oh, look at that lot. That is Thompson has just gone through the shot, and coming up behind these two is Flying K-Fran in second. So, whilst the GTEs will broadly mind their own business, and that's Morvik then getting passed by Flying K-Fran. And I think Morvik's Nick Mido's tyres are now up to temperature, as there's this very distinct gap forming between the Corvette and the Aston now. Of course, Morvik pitting much earlier than the Corvette, so Morvik's had the best out of his tyres and will probably be in about 10 laps time roughly, or within the next 10 laps I would have thought, as we have 28 laps remaining here at Dubai. We have been racing now for approximately 1¼ hours, so we have got about just over an hour to go. And that's Hitharian. Let's just swap position. That's me. That is why Hitharian is parked on the side of the road at... oh no, that's me. That's the green dot. He is parked on the outside of turn 1. We have lost the Janetta of Hitharian. No idea what's going on there, but the lights are off and nothing. Absolutely nothing going on there. Morvik continues to chase down. I'm just hoping we're not seeing a mass disconnect. If we are, the stream will have to be paused whilst we reset the field. Of course, all the distances between the drivers will vanish, and we will get some wheel-to-wheel racing. It's always a shame when things like that happen, because it really kind of... You don't see how people's strategies play out. We've seen people doing 1 stops, 2 stops. Obviously, the 1 stops have had their stop now. Well, everyone's had their first stop. 2 stoppers will be having theirs in their second one within the next 10. We just don't get to see how those strategies will play out if we have a mass disconnect situation. However, that is out of anybody's hands. It could just be Hitharian's game has crashed. His wheel may have stopped. May have had enough. He's still parked there. Engine's not running, lights are not on. Has of course put Fast Draw into 13th position. DG is right with. Look at that. That is for second in class between the two Mercs. So that's 59.9, 58.3. So DG being slowed up by Groby. 57.2, 57.1 for Nick Mido and Morvik. So they have gained a second on this pair. Excuse me. Oh, you saw the headlights in the background, but not quite the car. The more DG has to fight stuck behind Groby, the more that's going to bring in. There's the Ginetta again. And there you go, you can see them in the background. That's the Corvette and the Aston.
Don't worry, I know you're there, Kefren.
That was looked like Nick Mido going a bit wide. That was Thompson assuring K-Fran that he is aware he's there. Oh, Groby's lost that position then. It's on the straight, heading down to 10. Can DG make it stick? Yes, he can. He's got the move done before the braking zone. And that is second in class, 9th position, beg your pardon, to Dangerous Ginetta then. A pretty clean, straightforward move for him. Nicely done. Crikey, he's looking to get away as quick as possible. Again, this could be a difference in 1 stop to 2 stop.
What's happened to Hitarian?
He parked about a lap ago. Unfortunately, when I hit my push...
He'll get a parking ticket.
Lol.
Unfortunately, when I hit my push to talk button, it's the same as the timing board. Oh, and that is Groby coming in. So Groby has decided it's time for his second stop. The Mercedes M coming in to ditch those very dead tyres. I mean, he was losing quite a lot of time on those around him then. And Groby chooses the pit. That, of course, elevates Morvik and Nick Mido. 57.8 for Morvik, 58.0 for Nick Mido, 58.3 for DG. So they could still reel DG in, but some way to go yet. It's another 5.5 seconds down the road between the Corvette and the Mercedes. To see what is what, as Morphy's got a swarm of LMPs around him. I say swarm, it looks like a swarm because there's lots of lights. It's only actually 2 of them. It's Andrex in 3rd and Brzezinski in 5th. Obviously the 2 LMPs mentioned are not on the same lap. That's why they're on the same bit of track. As Morvik tries Andrex tries and achieves a wide line around Morvik. Is that Hitharian moving again? It is! Hitharian's away again! Maybe he needed the loo. He just parked up, got out of his car, went to the tyre barrier, had a wee, and got back in his car again. Who knows? Hitharian's away. And we just saw, I think that's Andrex getting past... It was Andrex getting past Brzezinski there with the 2 LMPs. Followed closely by Nick Mido and Morvik. Yeah, so this is the closest battle we have at this stage. 25 laps to go, 45 done. Lap 46 is what the leaders are on. Here being Colonel McCoy, there he is. With Rigor, so there's our 2 leaders. You just saw in that shot for a moment there. The LMP leader and the GZ leader. Where Rigor has been all race barring pit stops. Where Nick Mido had the class lead for a while. He's got over a minute's lead now of his class. So himself and Dangerous Ginetta. Which is pretty damn impressive. And still, by quite a margin, Rigor holds the class fastest lap, 55.2, and he's in. Rigor is taking his second pit stop now. So that might shuffle up the GTE for a little while. It'll be interesting to see. So as he's come in, DG's just coming down that long straight between 9 and 10. It depends. He may be able to shorten his stop enough to come out still in the class lead. We saw Colonel McCoy do it I think he had a bigger lead though. I think he had a minute and a half. So Nick Mido still under pressure from Morvik for that final class position, class podium position rather. There's Ragor. There he is. DG. He is coming down through 13. That is Brzanczyk just ahead of him. And Rygor is going to maintain the class lead. He did indeed have enough time in his pocket to do it. So no, it's not going to shuffle up the GTE order at all. There's DG just coming up to the final turn as Rygor is now back underway. With, who's that right by him?
Nick, how many pit stops did you do?
That's Faster all right with him. So GG then is just about 13 seconds or so behind him. Nick Mido still has Morvik for company. So despite the fact that they're on completely different strategies, Morvik had half a second on Nick Mido last time around, 57.3, 57.7. So it's still very nip and tuck between the Corvette and the Aston. It does mainly seem that I am concentrating on the GTEs, on a few select individuals, but I am basically looking to see where the battles are. And there's Itharian in the background we just saw. And of course I check in with everybody to see where everybody is. Has Garen McCoy lapped everybody? Garen McCoy's there. Which is, he's just coming through... No, he hasn't lapped everybody yet. He's just coming through turn 14. Flying K-Fran is 54 seconds down, and their lap times are 1:44. So no, he hasn't and won't lap everybody. Still a stunning drive by him, but I just wondered if he'd actually gone through the entire field. What was I looking for?
Massive lag there ahead.
Oops, someone having a lag problem. This was what I was looking for. It's Morvik and Nick Mido again. They're just coming through 14:15. Towards someone talking to Thompson. I'm
Sorry, what?
not sure who that was.
Who was it? Who was what?
Oh, someone lagged. Yeah, I wasn't sure who it was.
Lag. I didn't say anything about lag. Sorry, it was Hetarian.
Surely he didn't lap for 2 laps. Brzanczyk is in. Brzanczyk has chosen now to do his final pit stop. 22 laps remaining in this race. Where is Tamale? Tamale's coming through 14. Brzanczyk is just coming out, so he is going to retain that 6th position. Assuming Tamale doesn't have to pit again. That could be a battle there for 6th position. Well, there's someone else in the pits, I think. Is it Groby? No, it's Dangerous Janetta. Thought I heard an engine rumbling in the pits there.
It's okay.
So DG has lost that class 2nd. He now comes out in 12th overall, which is 5th in class. But it is a pretty safe bet that the 3 ahead of him probably have to pit again. But we will see. And I imagine they're going to do it soon. Back to Nick Mido and Morvik, now 2nd and 3rd in class. With a minute roughly between Morvik and Groby, 3rd and 4th. Do they pit this time? That's Mr. Alcon just ahead of them. Mido, no. Morvik, no. I wonder if Morvik's going to copy exactly what Nick Mido does, then bearing in mind. Mind you, Nick Mido, I think, is on a 1 stop, so he might not have to pit again. judging on, it was lap 38, I think it was, that Nick Mido pitted, so he might run to the end if he's got the fuel to do it. He had the fuel to get that far, so he should, in theory, have enough fuel to get to the end. And if his tyres hold out. And Morvik, though, I think he's more on a two-stop strategy, so he hasn't been able to get past the potentially one-stopping Nick Mido. This is where I find out that he has had 2 pit stops all along. But he's on a very different pit strategy to Morvik. That much is clear from when Morvik and Nick Mido pitted last time around. And unfortunately, family duty calls once more. Be right back. And I am back with you. I apologise for that. And Morvik is in. Nick Mido is not. So there went my prediction of Morvik copying what Nick Mido did. But again, I'm pretty sure Nick Mido is on one stop. Morvik is not, so that's not a surprise that Morvik is in again. Mr. Alcon has just lost position. He's in as well. So Brzanczyk goes up to 5th. To Mali goes up into 6th position, and away goes Mr. Alcon then. We'll see how that transpires for him. I got Nick Mido. Morvik's still there. There is Groby. Where is he? Coming on the last turn. Morvik's now coming out, but he is going to lose that position to Groby.
Another braking marker missing.
I'm surprised actually as many braking boards have lasted as long as they have. So Rygor leads the GTEs with Nick Mido 2. Groby's just taken that 3rd position back. Morvik now comes out of the pits. 20 laps to go here in Dubai.
Don't use removable things as brake markers.
And DG is not far behind
there is
in
nothing next to the
4th.
track to use.
In 5th position rather.
It's always something.
Andrex makes an interesting point there, trying not to use the actual
There should be enough rubber in the braking
distant
zone.
boards because they can be destroyed. Use either the paint on the side of the track or some like the orange barrier you saw on the left hand side, something physical that can't be moved. But Thompson makes a good point. It's very hard, particularly in the dark, to see things that are further away from the track. So the challenge of an endurance racer. Now Tamale has a potential battle on his hands. There he is in 6th position with a freshly pitted Mr. Alcon. Oh, beg your pardon, no, wrong way around. Tamale could close in on Brzanczyk. See what the laps are again. Brzanczyk 49.3, 49.8, so half a second to Brzanczyk's favour.
In a crucial place.
So looks like with that 241 that Thompson's pitted again. Or he's on a massive off somewhere, but
seriously, it's not fun.
His car looks in good shape.
So
people complaining
so
about
annoying.
braking boards disappearing.
Doesn't have to happen on purpose. Huh?
And
No excuse though.
Groby
You should be cautious.
is fairly close to Morvik. If the camera will change, there's Groby, there's Morvik. Morvik, as we know, has just
There's
gone through
already
pits.
basically 2 corners now where I have to
And
brake
there is
blind.
DG. The lap times between these guys 56 4 for Groby, 2:58 of course because of the pit stop for Morvik, and 56.6 for DG. So wait to
Probably
see
another
what
2
Morvik's...
we have to improvise.
Alright guys, keep the chat down please.
I was about to make that same point actually. This is the thing with endurance races, bearing in mind that they've been going now for about an hour and a half, or coming up to an hour and a half. This is where people start to get tired. It gets difficult to kind of cut through the chatter, so to speak. Less than 20 laps to go. It equates to less than 40 minutes remaining, about 35, give or take. So it's going to be quite a bit before the 2.4 hour mark. That's the nature of the beast. It's difficult to guess how many laps to put in, but if you look at the pace difference between... Look at that, since looking at the fastest lap, Conor McCoy's actually broken 1:45 with that 44.7. No one's anywhere near it. The only person that's within a second of that time is second place Flying K-Fran. Everyone else is 1.5 or slower. So, yeah, that kind of time difference times 70 laps makes for quite a considerable amount of time. You don't want the race going on too long, but equally you want an endurance race to be quite a lengthy process. So we are going to be a bit shorter than the 2.4 hour, which, oh well, I'm sure we'll have an instance where we're over it. But that just goes to also highlight the blistering pace and expert driving by our leader here, Colonel McCoy. That in the background is Mr. Alcom. As Colonel McCoy, as he's coming through turn 9, there's Flying K-Fran coming down the start-finish straight. It's nearly half a lap difference and 48 seconds or so as he crossed the line. As he is catching up to Dangerous Janetta. Ooh, that could have been nasty. And, oh, that was close. DG bled out the throttle a bit to allow Clayfran. Why am I struggling with his name so much? I don't know. Flying K-Fran through. And again, we find ourselves in a position where there's no particularly close battle for position. Andrex, our lead coordinator. A big shout out to him and those that assist him in getting this league up and running, maintaining it, making sure everything is known to everybody. Big props to you, sir. He was mad enough to ask me to be in the commentary box. Loony you. Thompson, he's been in that 4th position pretty much all race long. He is coming up to track. Where is he? He's coming to turn 12. Look at where. There's the map, obviously, and one in green is Andrex, I think. No, I've completely forgotten. I've only been playing Project Cars for about 600 hours. I've forgotten whether the red one is the one behind you or the green one's the one behind you. So as Thompson comes across the line, he is over a minute and a half behind Andrex. So Andrex then, so it's the red dot is the one ahead of you, because there we see Thompson go through turn 1. As we switch to Andrex, he's just coming over the line. So there we go. That's reminded me. It's just one of those things that you kind of you don't think about. You glance over at the box in the bottom left-hand corner if you're using the standard UI. But when you actually come to think of it, it's like, which way round is it? Rosantic then, 5th position. Found himself shy of 50 seconds down from Thompson. Pretty much on his own. There is Tamale, as he has race leader Colonel McCoy and Nick Mido.
One through here.
And that is Tamale asking the race leader if he wants to go through, which he then allows him to do. Tamale in 6th in his maiden voyage here in the Endurance League. Mr. Alcom in 7th. He's about 14 seconds down from Tamale. Ruggle continues to lead the GTE field, unchallenged to the tune of 35 seconds, give or take, from this man Nick Mido. Both of them running the Corvettes. It's pretty safe to say that the American muscle has won out here in the desert as far as the GTEs are concerned, assuming of course they bring these cars home. Anything can happen in the final 16 laps. Groby in 3rd in the German powerhouse of the Mercedes, just crossing the line, nearly a minute down from Nick Mido, so that shows the spread in the top end of the GTE field. This is pretty much the same story throughout the LMP field as well. Morvik has got, that's Thompson just coming past him. So Morvik then has been battling with Dangerous Janetta and Groby for most of the race, but sadly finds himself rather on his own then at this point post pit stops. He chased Nick Mido for a long time, but sadly his pit strategy not paying out. Unless of course Nick Mido has to pit again, may have to have a quick splat and dash to the end, we don't know. I don't think so, judging on when Nick Mido pitted last time, but you never know what will happen. There is Dangerous Janetta, about 9 seconds down from Morvik. Both on that long straight between 9 and 10. Fast Draw, unfortunately not had much chance to look at him as Brzancic comes past him. And Hitharian has decided to park it. I think he parked it a few laps ago. I did see there was someone else that had retired. Sadly, we have lost Hitharian. Leaves us 13 runners. And that is your lot, I'm afraid. 15 laps to go. Conor McCoy, I seem to always catch him when he's at this stage in the race, around here, around turn 10. What we'll do, we're going to go on board with Conor McCoy for a lap at night around the desert, around Dubai Autodrome GP circuit. So he's just come around turn 12. That is Brzancic ahead of him. We'll be putting a second lap on him. Switch the external camera for now. It'll also give you a different perspective of how these corners look from the driver's standpoint, because the outside camera really does not do justice to how difficult some of these corners are. So here comes Conor McCoy then, on board with the Orica. As he completes lap 56. 14 to go.
Thank you.
So Andrex thanking someone. And on the map then you can see the distance between himself and second place Flying K-Fran, the green dot just coming through, coming up to turn 13. So McCoy's just gone through 1, 2, and this is 3. There's the apex of 4, 5, 6. It was really awkward braking zone for 7. Nearly comfortably done. Really near non-existent 8, which again puts you in a really awkward braking point for the turn 9. Oh, Hitharian! Yeah, we saw you parked up for a couple of laps. What happens? As Conor McCoy just gone past Brzancic into the heavy braking zone of turn 10. Start to climb uphill again. As he's gone through 11. Heavy braking zone again through 12. Oh, no way! I've had to do that twice because of I've had to deal with my kids. So you have my sympathies, my good sir. How old is your youngster, if you don't mind me asking? There's Conor McCoy comes around that long, never-ending turn 14. 15. So easy to stamp on the gas too hard. We saw Tamale do that early on in the race. I've done it many times here. And that is a lap by our race leader as he completes 57, 13 to go. See, mine is 7 and 3, so yeah, I can sympathise with you, good sir. I've now run out of drink. Is that warm in here? That my drink was starting to get warm. That didn't taste nice. There's Colonel McCoy finds his way past Rigor. And there's our two leaders again, the race leader and the GTE leader. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean there, don't you? Fair play to you for persevering.
Wow.
So what actually caused you to retire in the end, or did you just decide that, you know, too far back, so you just parked it? There's K-Fran coming through the 3, 4, 5, 6 complex. As he is catching up to Nick Mido. The 2 seconds in class are close to one another as well. As K-Fran comes through that banked turn 9. Andrex, very lonely race for him. Has been pretty lonely for a very long time for the Marek. See, Tharian, so it's just endless amounts of struggling going on, and then situation with the child, kind of final nail in the coffin. Oh, no way. So it's just been a catalogue of problems for you tonight. That is a shame. Oh, you as well. You've had pit stops without changing tyres. 2 or 3 people have had the same problem. My son, yeah. Oh, good old Project Cars. Well, let's hope Project Cars 2 is has these issues sewn up. Ah, interesting. I didn't get to see a lot of you, I'm afraid. But I saw Tamale lagging. I've seen Dangerous Janetta lag a couple of times. So, again, you're not the only one. Andrax continues his merry way in 3rd position. Thompson. Where is he? There he is. Just coming around 14. There you see. Andrax is not far behind him. So Thompson then comes to complete another lap. He continues on his merry way as well. Let's check our lap time board. 46.3 by McCoy, 47.2 by K-Fran, 48.5 for Andrex, 150.4 for Thompson. Oh, that sounds like someone's just hit the wall. Who has hit the wall? Here we go.
Game freeze, guys.
Oh, DG!
I saw something weird.
Yeah, there he is.
I think you're standing safe.
Yeah, I think DG's game has crashed. We heard the bang from the... I mean, wow, you got to think that's there. He's gone off the road at turn 14. And the race has claimed someone else then. Dangerous Janetta is out. What a shame. I mean, he was running in 2nd in class at one stage. So the race has claimed another victim then. 12 runners remain in this race then. Ulvik, 4th in class. Roby 3rd by 50 seconds behind this man Nick Mido. 2nd in class to this man Rigor. Props again to Rigor for the awesome custom liveries that we run in this race. It's not particularly easy to see the custom liveries. He was even kind enough to give me mine. There it is. Obviously quite easy to see under the headlights of the garage. very kind to put my YouTube channel and Twitch channel, which of course those watching live will see. Those catching up with it later will probably catch up on YouTube. So great work there. Sorry you can't see it all. Dangerous Janetta, as we know, is buried out in the wall. That one, I think, I'm not 100% sure if that is the standard one. Yeah, I think that's the... Oh no, it's got the AOR number. AOR over the number. So no, that's a custom skin as well. Morvig then is 3 seconds behind
Just
Groby.
entering 61.
Indeed, so 10 laps to go here at Dubai. That's about equates to roughly 15 minutes. More racing here. Morvig is just 4 seconds thereabouts behind Groby. We might have a battle for the last podium step in the GTE field. Lap times: Groby 57.5, Morvig 56.9.
Yes, short shifting saves fuel.
So it's doable at that pace. There you go, you've just seen Groby go out of the shot. It's doable for Morvig. He would only have a couple of laps to make a pass if, of course, the pace continues at 6 tenths, there or thereabouts. He would need 7 or 8 laps to catch him. There you go, you just saw Groby in the top of the shot there. And that's Dangerous Janetta that has left the session. His game, of course, crashed. He had no control over that. Hopefully that doesn't have further ramifications. We all know what server stability is like here in Project Cars. It would be a great shame for the race to end in a very anticlimactic way like that, but it is out of our control. That is Groby just going out the top of the shot. Morvig in hot pursuit. Alcon's not far off of Somali, actually. Bit of a bigger gap there, but let's see what the lap times are. 52.7 for Tamale, 49.2 for Mr. Alcon. So unless Tamale made a mistake, at that pace, Mr. Alcon will definitely be on fighting Tamale's case pretty soon. Let's keep an eye on Morvig. 57.8 and 57.1, so he's gained 7 tenths that time around. 5.4. Separate the two with 9 laps remaining. Remember, that is 9 laps for the leader. So if these guys don't get lapped again, they'll have 9 laps as well. If they get lapped once more, then there'll be 8 laps for them to do. So it's certainly doable, as Morvig has got Brzancic coming up behind him. Could well see Morvig and Groby cross swords once again before this race is concluded. Morvig will definitely be aware of that. Groby might be if he's using something like Crew Chief that tells him that Morvig is X amount of time behind, and if he's keeping a mental track on the fact that he was more than that last time around, so he may be aware of it. Ooh, and I wonder if Morvig just had to kind of adjust his line there as he had Brzancic hit his braking point. Of course, the LMPs brake that much quicker than the GTEs do, which means the GTEs have to brake earlier. They do have to be careful when they hit their respective braking points. Through 13. 14 again. Surely has got to spur Morvig on, seeing the fact that the next position is just that much down the road. And if he's been looking at the lap times, then he'll know how much quicker he is, or how much quicker he has been. So he locks up his front right there, goes a bit wide at that final turn. And 157.4 for Groby, 157.5 for Morvig, so he lost a tenth that time around, probably in that last turn. So that's not going to help his battle for third in class. But Somali has got some thinking to do, as last time around 52.2, 51.6 between himself and Mr. Alcon. 6/10 there, and there's the gap. You can see it visibly for yourself. Oh, beg your pardon, that's Flying K-Fran, that's directly ahead of Mr. Alcon. I just saw the timer, I thought that doesn't look right. No, wrong LMP car. I beg your pardon. If you're on board with Mr. Alcon, you can probably see Flying Tamale. Ignore the one directly in front, that's Flying K-Fran. That one, you just see going around turn 9, is Fighting Tamale. That's the gap that Mr. Alcon is trying to close down in the next 8 laps.
That's right.
And that's Tamale giving a cue for Flying K-Fran, which is, if he's bled out of the throttle, it's going to slow him down, which is going to allow Mr. Alcon. There you go. Mr. Alcon has definitely closed in. I think that's mainly because Tamale bled out of the throttle a bit too much to allow K-Fran through, which he of course he's obliged to do. He will be under blue flag conditions for allowing someone of his own class through, but that has compromised his race against Mr. Alcon. And already Tamale's gone to the inside, and Mr. Alcon just had a much better drive out of that turn 12 and has taken the position. Job done. Unfortunately, Fighting Tamale had absolutely no answer for that in the slightest. And he's got himself a cut track penalty just to add insult to injury. Oh, well, that definitely is the final nail on the coffin for Tamale. But, interestingly, look at this. 57.6, 56.7 for Groby and Morvik. They have... Morvik has closed in again. 7 laps to go. Closing stages of this race now. It's the only other position battle we've got. This is for 3rd in class. Thankfully it doesn't look like we're facing anybody else. We're not facing anyone else having a mass disconnect or anything like that. Or having a spontaneous disconnection problem. Which is always nice to see. Morvik has got... That's Flying K-Fran coming up behind him. Morvik doesn't have to really do anything. Is he going to jump in the slipstream of the AOR? He does. Why not? Why the devil not? Through turn 10. There is Groby. Up to through 11, up to 12. Ooh, that's K-Fran trying to work his way past the Mercedes. If that put Groby offline, that's going to allow Morvik to close in on him. He's definitely gained quite a fair old chunk of time if Groby's made a mistake in this lap. And that will explain how Morvik is suddenly closed in. The lap time was only 6/10 last time around. I reckon Groby's made a mistake somewhere. Or Groby's tyres have just given up the ghost. So that's the gap now. Groby's lap time last time around was a 1:57.9 for Groby, 1:57.1, so it was only 8/10 in it, which is a fair chunk of time, I grant you. It just looks like the gap has just shrunk dramatically. But, needless to say, Morvik is closing, unless of course the mistake I'm thinking of has happened a couple of laps ago and I've completely missed it. Which is of course entirely possible. Where's our leader? Here he is. He's gone through 12. So he's going to be finishing lap 65 pretty soon, within the next kind of 30 seconds or so. Get back to Morvik. Where is he? Where is he? On board with the Aston. That's Mr. Alcon that's right with him. So again, Morvik could get a tow from an LMP car on this main straight. There goes Mr. Alcon. Jumps into the slipstream of the Orica.
5 laps to go. 5 laps to go.
I was going to say exactly the same thing, but Colonel McCoy has done it for me. 5 laps remaining. As DG just confirming that his game had indeed crashed. What a tragic shame for him. And again, the Merc finds himself with an LMP right on his tail going through turn 12, although this time he doesn't seem to have been disadvantaged by it. Ooh, and that's Morvik going very wide through 14, which you can get away with to try and get a better exit speed, but like I said earlier, I don't see how... Hello, Zip. Good to see you, my friend. As it transpired, it's not 2.4 hours, it's closer to 2 hours, but yeah, endurance race here at Dubai. Last time around, 57.6, 56.9, another 7 tenths to Morvik. There you see them. Groby in the Mercedes, Morvik in the Aston. He's going to catch up to the Mercedes, but is he going to have time to put a move on him? That is the biggest question now. I take it, Zip, you are not a fan. You and your flying orange McLaren. Yes, I still remember. Coming through turn 9. Is Morvik able to keep pace with the Merc along the straight? Looks like Groby, of course, that much earlier on the gas, is going to maintain that gap. Or slightly increase the gap, I should say. But with the extra pace that Morvik's had, it's going to be very, very tough for Groby to keep him behind. If you've seen any of my Wacky Random series, Zip, then you'll know that I've had to do the club version of this trap about 4 times in the in various cars. Not all of it. One of them was the Lotus 38, the bloomin' IndyCar Lotus. That was hard. Anyway, back to the race. My apologies there. As they come through, 14. That gap is decreasing. Lap on lap on lap. Around the final turn again. .57.0 for Groby, 57.5 for Morvik. He lost half a second that time. Oh well. A reprieve for Groby then. But of course this will be where Morvik can claw that distance back in again, as this is definitely where his car and setup have had the advantage through this section of the track. Also coupled with, if Groby's tyres are dead, then that was
3 laps.
I was going to say the same thing. Yep, 3 laps to go. Colonel McCoy is on lap 68. 3 racing laps remaining here at Dubai. We have just hit the 2-hour mark, or near enough. Of course, I'm looking at my timer. That's when I went live recording it. That was including the parade lap, which is about 3 minutes, give or take. So we are about to hit, or have near as damn it hit, the 2-hour racing mark now. And in this heat, that's pretty damn tiring. On board with Morvik then. He knows that he's got the pace over the Merc, but he also knows there ain't a lot of time left. Let's see where Colonel McCoy is. There he is. He's just coming through turn 10. If they come through 14-15, it is entirely possible they will lose a lap through being lapped again. .57.9, 57.3. So again, Morvik has gained 6 tenths that time around, as 1.5 seconds. It is going to be close between the Aston and the Mercedes, but he will only have 2 laps to do it. As there's Colonel McCoy just about to cross the line to start the penultimate lap, lap 69 here at Dubai. All eyes are here. Groby will definitely know he's there now. If he didn't realise he was closing in, he would sure as hell know that there's a yellow set of headlights in his
Blue
mirrors.
flag, P5.
And that is Brazanchik that's being reminded of the blue flags. And there you see just the raw speed difference between the Merc and the Aston. That's what Morvik's had to contend with all race long. But we've been watching that gap decrease. So, and Morvik is well aware of that. And there you just saw Thompson coming up behind them. Behind him is Morvik. We're watching Morvik. It was Andrex. That's 4th and 3rd respectively. Catching up to this pair. Morvik trying a wider line at turn 12 to try and get a better exit speed. But again, Groby getting a good exit and just giving us that tiny bit of breathing space. Through 13. Into 14 again. Merc taking a much tighter line this time around. That is Morvik's view.
Good race, guys.
That sounded like... Oh, that could be dangerous! Oh my goodness me! Morvik is surely going to capitalise on the fact that there's been impact. Oh, he couldn't! Oh, he didn't. That was Thompson just running into the side of... As Thompson saying he was squeezed. Well, from my perspective, it looked like Thompson dived into a gap that really wasn't there.
Final lap.
Final lap then. Colonel McCoy has started the last lap. Morvik is now do or die. That is Andrews coming up behind them. Oh, and that's impact between the Merc and the Aston. I don't think Morvik expected Groby to brake quite that hard. He's clunked into him, and that's of course going to cost him time. It looks like that class 3rd position is going to go to the Mercedes at this point. But of course the checkered flag is going to fall behind these guys. If you look at where Colonel McCoy is, he's actually on that same straight. There he is. He's just behind them. As Groby has just allowed... Oh! As Groby allowed Andrex through, Morvik capitalised on it. But he's lost the position again. Groby's actually got him again on the inside at turn 12. That's the race leader behind them. Side by side heading down through 13. This is do or die for Morvik now. Impact between the two. Groby has lost that position. And Morvik has allowed Groby back through, but that's race leader! That's the race leader coming through! Morvik will not have another chance to do it! But here is your race leader, here is your your race winner then, is Colonel McCoy!
Sorry.
Goodness me, Morvik
battle.
just lost out.
Great racing.
Just lost out. What a finish indeed. And hello Waldo, good to see you. Wow. Second place is going to go to this man flying K-Fran. Wow, what a finish that was. Well, it had its moments, it had its moments of strategy as well, but crikey, what a finish. Here comes flying K-Fran then. Our pole sitter for today. Sadly couldn't convert that into the race win. Colonel McCoy's performance just too strong, but a great effort from him nonetheless. Crosses the line to take position number 2. Third place will go to this man, Mr. Andrex, in the Marek. Zanchik and Thompson just swapped around on the overlay. I think that's because Brad Zanchik has just crossed the line, of course, due to being lapped and what have you. That just shows you how spread out the field was. Absolutely amazing performances by our drivers. Oh, and I've just touched the side of my PC. It is roasting. Absolutely
Good racing,
roasting.
everybody. And congrats to Cole McCoy.
Oh, and yeah, absolutely. Congrats to him, and
the
also
other podium series.
which are K-Fran and Thompson's just crossed the line.
Best of the rest.
Get DQ'd on lap 66.
And there we go. Andrex has just crossed the line to claim that final podium spot.
It was both my best and worst race. Worst because fourth and best because two tires.
Brzezinski then will be 5th, Alcon 6th. Rigor, there he is, will take the class win for GTEs. I think he's already crossed. Has he crossed the line already? He's coming into the pits, isn't he?
I know I put on change
Yeah.
tires. And I put
So Rigor coming is GTE winner. Nick Mido is second in class, with Groby just taking third.
I've had so far.
Morvik 4,
I overtook
Fast
one
Draw
guy
5,
at the
and
start, that
Ethereum.
was it.
And Tamale's already retired,
I gained my position.
and that was basically Tamale was.
There was literally just 70 laps of
He's
driving
mysteriously
around
lost
the
25
circles.
laps. But I think he was 6th.
It's not NASCAR.
I think he was at the back of the enemy together. And that is the end of today's race, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much for being with us. Oh man, it's always a great pleasure to do the endurance races, but it is quite hard work. But that is it for this race. We'll see you right here next time for more AOR action. Thank you very much, and good night.